Well, a very good morning and thank you very much for joining us on GBS Morning Extra. My name is Timothy Omondi and you're right in time for the bulletin this morning. We hope that you had a lovely night, and as always, to keep the conversation going, let's do this on our Twitter handle. That's Kenya GBS. You can also use the hashtag GBS Morning Extra. The SMS line is 21144. You can also get to find us or follow us on Facebook. That's GBS TV Kenya. Well, to start us off, President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that the first part of the structure of the Lamu port will be launched in October. The president, who expressed fulfillment with the development of the ongoing construction works at the seaport, said that the project will create jobs for Kenyan youth. He requested that the employees to remain attentive and to also remain working strictly with security agencies in avoidance of terrorist attack. On the ongoing road projects in the area, the president said that the purpose is not only to improve national connectivity, but also to the new port to be appealing to the investors in the area.
Kutoka wakati nilikuwa hapa mwaka uliopita mpaka leo, kweli mumechapa kazi. Yeah? Mumechapa kazi. Na kulingana na vile tunaambiwa, hivi karibuni mwezi ujao tutakuwa hapa tukifungua kirasmi hii bathi ya kwanza ambaye naambiwa mtakuwa mmemaliza, na tutaifungua tukiona meli ikija hapa ikishukisha mizigo. Na kushukisha mizigo ndio mwanzo wa kazi, sio kwenu peke yenu, lakini kwa wenzenu wa Lamu na kwa Kenya mzima. Tunaelewana? Wengi walikuwa wanatuambia hatuwezi tukafike siku ya leo, lakini mimi vile naona na durubeni vile tumepiga, mwezi ujao wale walikuwa wanasema haiwezekani wataona ya kwamba inawezekana. Haja ni watu kuwa wana mwelekeo wa Kenya, tuwe na watu wa bidii, tuwe focused kwa kazi, tuachane na mambo ya ukabila.
Now, on to BBI politics. The Deputy President, William Ruto, is asking those who are calling for a referendum to first give the country a break and allow the country to focus on the development agenda promised by the Jubilee Party. The Deputy President also said that the referendum debate is all about politics and politicians who are seeking power but not for the interest of Kenyans. He challenged leaders to focus on service delivery as opposed to self-centered politics designed to erode gains made under the new constitutional order.
To be pragmatic, and we are saying the unity of Kenya, for us to prosecute the Big Four program, the President's Big Four program, the Jubilee Manifesto, and to implement Vision 2030, we need to harmonize our actions, and matters to do with changes to the Constitution are matters for politicians and power sharing, and matters to do with things that have no regard for what ordinary people in Kenya are interested in. Tatizo ya Kenya sio mambo hii mingi tunaambiwa. Tatizo ya Kenya ni moja: watu ambao hawakubali uamuzi wa wananchi wakati uchaguzi unafanyika. Raundi wakubali. Hiyo ndio shida ya Kenya. Ama ni aje? Si hapo ndio ulete shida? Kwa sababu tunaambiwa ya kwamba wakati uchaguzi inatangazwa kunakuwa na ugomvi, unakuwa na fujo. Tafadhali endeni kwa huyo muungwana, mumuulize ili aweze kukubali uamuzi wa wananchi. Akishindwa anataka sehemu gani ya katiba ibadilishwe na kwa njia gani.
Wacha watu waache hiyo matusi ndogo ndogo ya kuita watu sijui tangatanga. Kila mtu anatangatanga. Embrace wanatangatanga, niliwaona Mombasa, nikaona Kilifi. Juzi nikaona wengine wanaitwa Kieleweke, wanaenda Nyandarua, wanakuja Murang'a, siku nyingine walikuwa Mokoroini, Nyeri. Sasa niseme hata ule jamaa ule wa mitandawili pia yeye anakuja mpaka Nyeri. Si ndio ni kutangatanga? Kwani uko ni kwake? Hata juzi naona hata mwingine anafuatanga yeye nyuma sana very closely. Pia yeye alikuwa amekuja kutangatanga hata Nairobi, na kwake najua ni huko Eastern. Kama watu hawataki kutangatanga, basi mtu atulize kwake.
Now, away from the Tanga and Kieleweke politics, the Mau issue is a special matter for the Narok County because the forest is a trust land of the county while the evictees are residents of Narok. Narok County leaders have promised to find a durable solution to the competing tending the Mau interest, the conservation of Mau forest and safeguarding of the livelihoods of the evictees. The county boss urged residents to remain calm and politicians to refrain from politicizing the Mau issue. Tunai was joined at the press briefing by MPs Korei Lemain of Narok South, Gabriel Tongoyo of Narok West, Johanna Ngeno of Emuru Dikir, and Gideon Conchela of Kilgoris. The leaders said that while the Mau issue is of national importance, it is also an exceptional issue for Narok because the forest is of the county trust land, while the people being evicted are residents.
The leaders of this county are able to have a conversation, to talk together, to reason together, and get the best way out of this issue, of this predicament, of what is happening. I believe that once the issues of Mau can only be settled amicably in a boardroom. It's not in a public rally, it's not in a river, it is in a boardroom where we engage the rightful guys. The people living there are our people. As the leaders of this county, we want them to continue living as brothers and sisters, that this is our county, and not accept any kind of incitement from either leaders to come and incite either the Maasai or incite the Kipsigis, so that people start taking their arms and start fighting. We are not going to be responsible. We are just going to make the situation worse, and we don't want to be driven to that road. Peace is very paramount, and we think all of us should be responsible citizens and leaders, because these are the people that have existed in peace for a long time.
We want to really request them to refrain themselves from making statements that can lead to incitement, because as we said, our people have been living and coexisting in peace.
Reclamation of the Mau forest, which is a big ecological system, is an ongoing, is a work in progress by government. As Minister of Water, we are championing restoration of all our forests, protection of our water towers. Of course, as government, we would want to do it in a humane way. We would want to do, there are those who may have gotten one way or another illegal documents, but as we will have to employ the same process that government has been doing when they are, if there were mistakes that were done before, then government will come up with a solution on how to sort out those who may have gotten to site by mistake. So, but the mission and the principle is clear that our forests need to be restored back.
Well, moving on to other news now. Protests erupted in Murang'a town following the arrest of Kiharu MP Ndindi Njoro. This comes as residents blockaded the Kenyatta Highway using burning tires, and police shoot in the air using tear gas to disperse them. The MP was arrested by GSU officers on Monday at a St. James Cathedral in Murang'a, where he was taking part in a TV show alongside other legislators, Mr. Peter Kimari of Matioya and Mr. Muturi Kigano of Kangema. The Murang'a County Criminal Investigation Officer Julius Rutere said he will be charged with resisting arrest, assault, and disrupting a church service on Sunday at a Gitui Catholic Church in Murang'a. Already, the Catholic Church has demanded an apology from the politicians involved in the chaos, while at the same time announcing a ban on political activities in the Catholic Church. Murang'a Bishop James Maria Wainaina has cancelled all political activities in churches taking place. Also, other leaders came out strongly to condemn the event that saw a confrontation between the said MP and the former MP for Starehe, Maina Kamanda.
The acts on entrenched chaos and disturbance at any place is a criminal offense. And it is more regrettable when such an act is committed within the precincts of the house of worship. Police are investigating the matter with a view to take necessary legal action against the area MP and the other culprits involved in the incident. We urge members of the public to refrain from undue influence to break the law regardless of political affiliation. The National Police Service will continue to carry its mandate to maintain law and order without fear or favor in this country.
Yesterday's incident was therefore regrettable, unfortunate, uncalled for, and above all shameful, seeing that it involved some political leaders, but more so because it happened in the church. The actions by the leaders involved were disrespectful to the church. They set a bad precedent, and it treated the house of God as an arena where political scores can be settled. The actions are indeed a bad example, especially to children and the youth who look upon adults as role models and mentors. I feel that this incident was a strong confirmation of the reasons to limit time and space offered to politicians.
Hapa kwa Harambee vile tuliitwa na kanisa na tukaanza mambo vizuri, tukaendelea Nyoro wakakuta hata tumefanya introduction, hata wajumbe wote walikuwa already introduced.
Well, indeed, as the matter progresses, then let's see how it turns. But it's a shame that our politicians take their rhetoric and their fights inside the church. And this has been an issue that has been raised also in the past, that politics and church, how can these two things mix? Well, it's only in Kenya that such things happen. Moving on now, the Kenyatta National Hospital staff downed their tools on Monday as they had threatened earlier over failure by the hospital's management to implement an improved salaries and allowance structure after a resolution was passed to update the facility to a parastatal status. The workers under the Kenya Union of Domestic Hotels, Education Institution and Hospital Workers, KUDEIA, have accused the Kenyatta National Hospital Board of overlooking the circular that saw KNH staff recategorized to better salary and allowances. After the 2012 resolution, a letter addressed to the then Kenyatta National Hospital CEO Richard Lesiyampe outlined how the salaries will be calculated. The board has, however, now responded to the matter and has promised for better days to come and a review of the salaries.
Tulikuwa tunafikiria kiongozi wetu CEO anajali maslahi yetu. kumbe ni yake peke yake. Hii ulimwengu.
Let me say on behalf of the Kenyatta National Hospital Board of Management that we appreciate you. We appreciate you, we love you, and you are part of us, and there's no Kenyatta National Hospital without you. So that is why it is so important for us. Kenyatta National Hospital is not the concrete blocks. Kenyatta National Hospital is not the machines. Kenyatta National Hospital is not the medicine. The concrete blocks, the machines, the medicines will only help our patients if your input is there. We appreciate you and we want you to be part of this great institution so that we can move forward. I'm happy to report to you, we have met today and there is white smoke. We have been meeting since yesterday, and we will do whatever it takes to make sure that the welfare of our workers is taken care of. Yes. That is primary importance to us. If we don't take the welfare of our workers, we cannot take care of the welfare of our patients. Yes. That is primary. So your welfare, ladies and gentlemen, is a primary concern to us as a board, as the ministry. That is why you see with me here, Madam Susan Muchache. We have been here since morning, talking and agreeing. And we said, palipo wazee, palipo wazee.
Well, now we cross borders to the Nakuru County, where Nakuru County has signed a 1 billion Kenya shillings livestock deal planned. The signing of the agreement comes a couple of months after the Nakuru International Investment Conference, which was meant to woo investors. Nakuru County government and the Pakistani's Maxim Agri Company signed an agreement for the plant that is expected to lead to better feed prices and genetic modification of breeds. The factory, which will be constructed in the Oserian's Two Lake Industrial Park, is expected to be ready by January 2021. Nakuru Governor Lee Kiunjuri stated that for years the county's livestock production has stagnated due to low quality of semen and insemination methods. But he noted that with the new venture, dairy products in the county will find a market in the Gulf region, adding that the company was expected to create about 160 jobs directly.
One goal, our only reason to exist is to make sure that the quality of life of small farmers is improved. And I know it's a very cliche statement to make, but unlike most feed manufacturers, we are not into poultry. Our only focus is to produce cow feed, which means if we fail in cow feed, there's nothing else to bank on. That's the only thing we do. That's the only thing we know how to do.
The area of animal feeds and genetics, as we all know, is an area that as a country we have to address very seriously. We want to increase productivity, we want to increase returns on our farmers, and we want to ensure that we uplift the lives of the people down there. So this company is coming with animal feeds and that entire technology necessary for us to be able to uplift that. So.
Well, the fallen Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe will be laid to rest sometime next week. Zimbabweans have, however, been confused about when they would get to pay their last respect to Mugabe since his death in a Singapore hospital on Friday after a long illness. Mugabe had dominated Zimbabwean politics for almost 4 decades, from independence in 1980 until he was removed by his own army in November 2017 coup. Revered by many as a liberator who freed his people from white minority rule, Mugabe was vilified by others for wrecking one of Africa's most promising economies and ruthlessly crushing his opponents. The memo sent to by Zimbabwe's Ministry of Foreign Affairs to embassies in Harare and seen by Reuters said the funeral would be in the National Sports Stadium, but did not specify where the burial would be. Now, from Zimbabwe, we cross over to the Bahamas, where in the Bahamas island, death toll was raised to 45 following the passage of the Hurricane Dorian, a Capacity 5 hurricane that swept Bahamas islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama, after the government of the Bahamas revised the death toll. As access to affected areas is progressively resuming, albeit limited needs assessment are being undertaken by UN agencies and humanitarian organizations, landing on several locations across the Abaco's island, the most affected. Humanitarians found widespread destruction with thousands of houses leveled, telecommunication towers down, and water wells and roads damaged. There is very limited or no water, electricity, and sanitation. In Marsh Harbor, most of the infrastructure is damaged. The mud area, mostly inhabited by migrants, many undocumented, has been destroyed, therefore leaving this community in a particularly vulnerable situation.
At one point in my house, it felt like Bigfoot was on the roof, trying to break in from through the roof. That's how, that's how fierce it was. And then we end up losing one of our windows. So I had a cabinet which was nearby. We stenched that against the window along with a freezer. And we take on water all night from through the window and then part of the ceiling. It was leaking from part of the ceiling. Right now, there's so much people up there that they can't find. That place is no place to be right now. Until the government, I guess, figure out, how they can get that whole area clear up.
We are responding immediate needs, but at the same time, we are trying to understand who are the most needed, the humanitarian assistance, especially those populations, undocumented migrants, are our main concern.
The physical destruction is massive. It's encouraging, however, to see the way that some people, residents, are finding quick solutions to respond to the situation themselves, but they need support. There is an urgent need for critical life-saving supplies, food, water, sanitary hygiene packs. The UN has deployed emergency medical teams in government infrastructure to meet trauma needs and respond urgently to people. The government has established a number of areas of work: food, logistics, health, water and sanitation, and the UN has embedded lead experts in those areas, and we're delivering assistance in coordination with the government through those channels.
Arrival to Nassau of a plane carrying nearly 1.5 tons of life-saving supplies that will help provide access to safe water for over 9,500 children and families left reeling by the storm. The first supply shipment of UNICEF humanitarian items was freighted by the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies and includes 4,000 water purification tablets, several 5,000-liter tanks for at least 2,000 people, and 1,000 jerry cans, with plans for these supplies to be distributed to the affected communities in the coming days. An estimated 18,000 children in the Abaco and Grand Bahama areas of the Bahamas have been exposed to the impact by Hurricane Dorian, with many in urgent need of humanitarian assistance, UNICEF said, citing initial figures from the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. Aerial reconnaissance and preliminary assessments indicate floods may have compromised water and sanitation systems in Abaco and the areas of Grand Bahamas. Now coming back to the African coast of Madagascar, where hundreds of thousands of people on Sunday gathered on the outskirts of the Madagascan capital, Antananarivo, to hear the Pope Francis say Mass and deliver a homily condemning privilege and exclusion on the second leg of his three-nation African tour. Many people wore white and yellow caps with the Pope emblazoned, the colors of the Vatican, and cheered as the Pope Mobile made its way through the wind-swept clouds of red dust at the sprawling sites. The massive crowds, estimated by organizers to be as big as 1 million, had waited patiently from the early hours to see the first Pope to visit the poor Indian Ocean nation in 30 years. After Mass, Francis visited Akamosoa, that's an interpretation of good friends in the Malagasy language, a refugee town found by the Argentinian priest Father Pedro and built on a dump site that has helped lift thousands of waste pickers out of poverty. Now, moving on to the to Europe, where John Bercow has announced he will stand down as Speaker of the House of Commons by the end of Brexit's deadline of 31st of October. Mr. Bercow made the surprise statement to MPs to stand aside after a decade in the role, just hours before Boris Johnson's decision to suspend Parliament until the 14th of October kicked in. The Commons Speaker, who has faced intense criticism from Brexiteer MPs and ministers in recent months, told MPs he would resign by the Halloween deadline for Brexit unless a vote for an for an early general election is passed before then. Announcing his decision, he said that throughout his time as Speaker, he has sought to be the backstop, and said it had been the greatest privilege and honor in his professional life.
2017 election, I promised my wife and children that it would be my last. This is a pledge that I intend to keep. If the House votes tonight for an early general election, my tenure as Speaker and MP will end when this Parliament ends. If the House does not so vote, I have concluded that the least disruptive and most democratic course of action would be for me to stand down at the close of business on Thursday, October the 31st. Least disruptive because that date will fall shortly after the votes on the Queen's speech expected on 21st and 22nd October. The week or so after that may be quite lively, and it would be best to have an experienced figure in the chair for that short period. Most democratic because it will mean that a ballot is held when all members have some knowledge of the candidates. This is far preferable to a contest at the beginning of a parliament when new MPs will not be similarly informed and may find themselves vulnerable to undue institutional influence.
Well, as Britain grapple with the Brexit deal, we cross now seas to Asia, where the Alibaba Group said on Monday that Jack Ma would resign as the chairman, unveiling a leadership succession plan for the Chinese e-commerce giant as it faces a more uncertain environment at home. Mr. Ma, who co-founded Alibaba in his apartment 19 years ago and had led it ever since, will step down as chairman a year from Monday. He will be succeeded by Daniel Zhang, currently Alibaba's chief executive. Alibaba, in a statement, said that the move was meant to foster long-term growth and reduce its dependence on any one person. At the same time, it took pains to stress that Mr. Ma would remain involved with the company. It said he will remain on its board until 2020 and would remain in the Alibaba partnership, a group of senior long-term managers who exercise significant control over the business and its affiliates. Earlier in a statement, Jack Ma is quoted as saying, and I quote, "This transition demonstrates that Alibaba has stepped up to the next level of corporate governance from a company that relies on individuals to one built on systems of organizational excellence and a culture of talent development." End of quote. Well, viewer, that piece from Alibaba brings us to the end of this segment. We now take a short break. Please remember to keep the conversation going on our Twitter handle. That's at Kenya GBS. You can also use the hashtag GBS Morning Extra. Our SMS line is 21144, and also you can get to watch this very episode on Facebook and YouTube. We now take a short break. We'll be back with the Sports Extra.